gonna make some pasta today. Yeah, but it's not the pasta that matters when you make pasta, it's the sauce. Instead of talk to you about how you have to get fresh local produce, it's worth remembering that a lot of times when you make pasta, it's not tomato season. Cherry tomatoes are often always sweet. They're much more consistently sweet and good than the kind of pale Roma tomatoes that you get at your supermarket that are completely bland, and you can do a lot with them. So we're gonna make a fresh pasta alla Norma, which is just pasta with eggplant in it. You can use any shape of pasta you want. This is called a ritornello, but you may as well use a fusilli or shell pasta, just anything you think that'll pick up that sauce. We have our classic olive oil, eggplant. Now this eggplant is longer and skinnier than the eggplant you're typically used to seeing in the store. And that's not because this eggplant is for Alex instead of me. It's because it's a Chinese eggplant. The larger eggplants, generally you have to salt them to get some bitter out of them, and they don't cook as tender. Chinese eggplant and Japanese eggplant are great. Garlic, thyme, any kind of chili you want. I'm trying puya here for the first time. We have 1 pound of cherry tomatoes. Salt and tomatoes are just like, yeah, they need each other. Pecorino romano, not Parmesan, pecorino romano. What is pecorino romano? It is a sheep's cheese. So it's not quite as sharp as Parmesan, but it's more funky. I don't know, I just love it. It makes the sauce taste rich. We're gonna stir it in and put a little extra on top. I have the oven preheating to 400 degrees, and now I'm gonna show you how to prep the eggplant. If you were to just chop it here, you'd waste a lot of the flesh. So we're gonna peel back the tips here, and now can chop it at a much more judicious place. It's like if foam were a vegetable, but there's no foam that has a cool name like baba ganoush. We're gonna cut them into 1/2-inch thick medallions, like so. Another thing you'll notice about this type of eggplant is it's not very seedy. You're not gonna find it on a street corner or in a strip club. It's gonna be hanging out, you know, in school or at the library. Now we're gonna season the eggplant. So we're gonna put about a teaspoon of salt in here, black pepper, thyme, making a mess here. Get off, okay. Pull it off the stems. And then we're gonna squeeze in about a tablespoon of olive oil. And we wanna toss these really well. Now eggplant is like a sponge, and you wanna move it quickly because if you don't, it'll just absorb all of the olive oil into one piece. We can see that the oil gets distributed, you know, not 100% evenly, but that's okay, nobody's perfect. Now I'm going to line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Turn our eggplant out on that. You want to give each eggplant defensible space in case a forest fire breaks out among the thyme. We can see just how bad I am at cutting now. Sinking iceberg over here, desert mesa over there. I don't know what happened to this guy. It looks like he got his nose punched in a brawl. I'm gonna put these in and I'm gonna check after the first 30 minutes. Our goal is to get brown on top of them. To get our sauce going, we're just gonna do cherry tomatoes and olive oil and salt is sort of the base of this. We're gonna season it up with a little more thyme, garlic in this chili. I'm gonna start with my massive garlic clove. I'll do the smash. Look at this beast. Lord Almighty. This guy, I hear tell, I don't know because I've never had a puya pepper before. I'm actually taking a risk on camera in front of all of you, is hot. So I'm gonna protect my hands marginally when I chop it up and then apparently let it fall all the way to the ground. That'll help it distribute around in the sauce. So I'm gonna throw this thyme and the chili in to the sauce at the same time. They will cohabitate. Oh, it's gonna be this garlicky, musky, spicy tomato. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna add one more ingredient to this that I totally forgot about, and that is a shallot. Shallots are like onions, but they're smaller and more savory, and so they're gonna be fun for this dish, which already has a lot of punchy flavor. So I'm gonna do about a 1/4 cup of chopped shallot. Cut off the tips, and I cut it in half lengthwise, and then that makes it easier for me to peel off the skin. Just cut it into some slices. Whoo, explosion, sorry. Careful when the outer layer of a shallot or onion starts to get loose. That's a recipe for getting cut. So just let it fall off and then continue cutting. Doop. We're gonna start with the pan. I'm using a nonstick pan because it's easy to clean and we're not trying to sear anything. You're gonna wanna put it on medium-high heat. So let's get a 1/4 cup, pour all that in there. Keep shaking it out of the thing until it's shaken out of the thing. How about you? You're gonna be my little guinea pig. My little guinea pig. You just tell me when it's ready. All right, so now we got our little canary in the coal mine going. Hi guys, it's Oily Sam. would you look at that? Our little canary has started to sing, so the miners need to get out. I don't know. We've extended this metaphor as far as it's going to go, folks. Then I want to dump in my garlic and shallot. A little nice gentle sizzle. And we just want to get everything brown, you know? Just get it brown. We're also seasoning the oil with all of the goodness inside of them. And then we can cook the tomatoes in that oil so they take up all that flavor. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here. Twist of pepper. We don't want any of this to burn, so I'm just making sure to keep moving it if it looks like a particular area is getting too dark. So we have a little bit of color starting to form here, which is great. It's just where we want to be. It means that things are starting to get a little crispy. Plop. Woo! Yeah, and they'll pop up a little bit because the oil is pretty hot at this point and they have some concentrated moisture in them. It's starting to get crispy. Pour your oil and stuff through a strainer here. Oh, I lost one. Because we're gonna go back to heating up this oil and we do not want to have lots of burn bits in it. Give them a tiny little press and you can pour your oil right back in the pan, followed immediately by your friends, the tomatoes, and they will pop, so stand back. So immediately we wanna stick a teaspoon of salt in with here. Your tomatoes are gonna be desperate for salt. Toss a little pepper in there. And if you smell the tomatoes getting a little roasty, just start to shake them. They'll start to get a little mushy and you can give them a little, you know, just give them a little encouragement to release their juices.
Around what time should we get our water going?
Oh, you know, that's a good point. Right around now, let's turn your water on. Salt your pasta water. I actually don't have measurements for you. Just put salt in the water until it tastes a little salty. And then, yeah. Once it starts to get thick, you no longer have tomato juice, but it's starting to look a little saucy. It's time to turn the heat down. So I'm gonna turn it down to a medium low. If this looks a little thick, that's totally okay. What we're gonna do is when we put the pasta in here, we're gonna add some pasta water to it to thin the sauce out. So we're really building a concentrated flavor right now. We're gonna add most, I'd say 3/4 of our deliciously browned shallot and garlic back. We're gonna save a little bit so we can top it with Crispies. And when it starts to get about this dry, remove the heat. Got some pecorino romano. I'm gonna grate a 1/4 cup of it. Now we're gonna stir the cheese in using the residual heat in our pan. You're gonna get the most incredible smell when you stir this cheese in here. The timer for about a half hour went off on the eggplant, so I'm gonna check it. We don't see that much brown yet. It's just starting, but it's not really there. Let's flip one over to see what we got. That's doing better. So I'm gonna flip all these guys. What Alex just told me quietly is that they probably just need about 10 more minutes. In order to get pasta nice and al dente, a nice trick is to boil it for 1 minute less than the lowest time. So if it says 8 to 10 minutes, we're gonna boil it for 7 minutes. And the reason is we're gonna cook it a little bit extra in the sauce after we finish. That was a ½ pound of pasta. Probably it serves 4 people, but realistically, 2 people. Oh, let's take a look at what we got here. Do you want this beautiful brown finish on the outside where it's crispy, and then the inside, it'll be super light. This guy looks like a really good candidate. Let's see. Oh, perfect. All right, my timer just went off. I'm gonna get a little bit of pasta water from here and put it right in the sauce. We just wanna stir this in. Now we're gonna assemble the final dish here. Okay, so we got the pasta. Let's stick it into a bowl. Do a little eggplant ring. Extra pecorino romano on top of that. And we have our little Crispies from earlier. So I can take some of those guys, and they're so crunchy and crispy, and we'll scatter them about. Let's dig into this. Gonna get a nice bite with some eggplant and pasta on it. I mean, what do you want me to say? The eggplant is sweet and just fluffy almost. I don't know how else to describe it. You got that nice richness again from the cheese and the brightness of the tomatoes, and then that crunchy garlic and shallot on top, just really, you know, take it the extra mile. So, make some pasta alla Norma. I love it. I love it. So the first thing you want to do is cut off the tip of the eggplant. But I'm holding it so suggestively. I'm gonna put that in this little dude guy. Little dude guy bro. Little bro dude. Guy bro dude. Guy bro. When you have about a minute left, you want to start reheating your pan because you're going to be continuing to cook the. Oh. I can't clap. Ow! My.